Hey guys, we're gonna start modeling the body of our character. So much like the same way that we did the body, or the head, we're gonna start with the body. So we're just gonna box model it. So I'm going to create a box. Oh, it's a terrible place for the box. I'm going to create it right in the center here. Just whatever shape for now. Delete some unwanted items in here. Gonna hit Alt X to make it see-through. Hit G to get rid of my grid because I don't need that right now. So I'm just gonna make sure it's centered. So I'm gonna right-click on my Select and Move tool, and I'm gonna right-click on these arrows here just to zero my box out so it's nicely in the center. And the first thing I'm going to do is move it up to my torso area, and I'm gonna just roughly shape in the torso with what I have. So I'm gonna convert it. Right-click, convert to Editable Poly. And I'm just going to select my verts and just start roughing in some of these shapes here. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to symmetry this guy like we did the head as well. So I'm just going to delete the 1/2. I'm going to apply a symmetry modifier, flip that so it's there. There we go, it's looking good. I'm going to put this show end results on so I can see both sides, and away we go. So I'm going to add this first line here. This is going to be for my my legs, so I don't want this going straight across like this. I want it to go up like that. And this will be my shoulder area. That'll be my neck. I'm going to go to the left side and just kind of roughly adjust some of this stuff. That could stay like that. This could stay fairly boxy for now. We're going to adjust this as we go. I'm going to go back to my front viewport, and I'm going to just start adding one edge at a time, always one edge at a time. A little bit there. Might add one in here as well. Going to position this one somewhere around the armpit area, just because this is where our arms are going to come off of, so something like that. And I'm going to place this center vert kind of along my pecs, so it's going to go down like that. I can even adjust this a little bit lower too. Go to my left viewport and finally make some adjustments here. There we are. So remember, always look at your model from all different possible angles, and it's already starting to look a little funky, so I'm going to push this in to get that nice kind of shape that I want. Back as well, bring that in. Not as much, there we go. It's looking like a torso, it's pretty good. So let's continue. I'm going to add an edge this way now. And I'm going to adjust some of these lines here. There we go to my left viewport, do the same thing. These ones I might have to start just doing in perspective view. Make sure these shapes are how I want them to be. There we go. It's pretty good from there. Alright, so from here we're going to add some legs. So before we do that, I'm going to want to add a couple more lines here to help me define some things. So I'm going to add another one here, a little bit closer to the center, and that way I can kind of do this Get myself a little bit more room to play with. All right. Alright, there we go. We got our pec lines in. I want to work those out a little bit more. There we go. Getting a little bit better rounded here. And do a little bit of an inset for my back here. I might actually push this out a little further. So we're going to take the pecs here and we're going to wrap them all the way around to the top of our arm here, to this muscle. Because naturally that's just what muscles do. It's just like a nice flow here, and it works really well for moving around and animating and stuff like that. So we're going to do something along those lines. And in here I'm going to add another edge, front and back. Help me define some of these areas since they're looking a little low poly. There we go. All right. Smooth out these lines so they're a little rounder. Alright, that's pretty good. Alright, so let's do some legs now. Actually, sorry. Again, before we do legs, I'm going to just add a line right across the center here. That way I can have a little bit more more geo for my actual legs. Okay, so let's just round this out while we're here. So I'm going to grab some edges. Alright, there we go. Left side, going to bring these down a little. There we go, not a ton, just to get a little bit of a smooth going on there. Then I'm going to grab these polygons right here, and I'm going to extrude them. I'm going to go to my front viewport, and I'm going to start fleshing out some legs. Alright, there we go. Actually, I'll keep it as is. There we go. Might add an edge here for now just to help flesh out some of the pants and stuff. Now before I get too far, I'm going to start taking a look at these from other angles. Let's take a look at what this looks like. Obviously not very leg-like right now. There you go, it's a little flat, but we'll work that out in time. Alright, so what we're going to want to do is get a nice round shape for the legs here. So remember, your edges should always fan out nicely like this. Right, when you're doing a nice circle, all your lines shouldn't be parallel. They should nicely start making turns like this right now. These two are parallel. That's not nice. So I want to do something like that. There we go. That's better. Alright. So, we got some decent leg shapes. Obviously this like crotchy-ish area isn't very smooth right now, and there's no polys for the butt and stuff. It's really flat, but we'll work that out in due time. I want to do something like that. Yeah, so this butt area looks terrible right now, but that's okay. We will get there. So let's continue. All right. So if you're not familiar, I'm just using the extrude button here. I'm just clicking that, so the little dialog beside it. This will just extend it X amount of times. I usually just hit extend and then hit OK, and then make my adjustments by hand. You can work how you like, but that's just kind of how I like to work. I'm going to go in my side view here and start just adjusting some of my pants. And just maybe general kind of flow here as well. Alright, that's pretty good. Still pretty round. It's alright. Alright, so we're going to extrude the feet out as well. Alright, so we're going to extrude some lines for the feet here, some polys for the feet. So I'm just going to extrude a little bit like that. And take a look at that from my side view. I'm going to scale these polygons down as I have them selected. I'm going to select my scale tool by hitting either R or selecting it from up here. And I'm just going to highlight it over the yellow here, which is the Y axis, and just scale it straight down. Just like that. And maybe pull some of this out for that. Start kind of getting a flow for there. And let's take a look at it from the front viewport. And I'm not going to worry too much about my drawing from the front viewport since it's kind of a bit of a mess, so that's alright. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these front faces here. I'm going to extrude them out a little bit as well. And I'm just going to do the same thing for my left viewport. Just down like that, maybe give them a little bit bigger feet. Go. And just play around with some of my proportions here, make sure they feel pretty good. Alright, there we go. Got some feet. I could even add another edge here just to help kind of get my shapes right. Actually, I might just scale all of this down here. Alright, there we go. So that's good enough for now. He's got kind of little feet. I actually don't really like them, so I'm going to just adjust them. Actually going to make them wider. I don't know why I made them so thin. There we go. That feels a lot better. Alright. So we got our feet. Let's do some arms. So same idea. I'm just going to select these guys. I'm actually going to move this vert down a little bit to kind of get a bit of a rounder shape. So same idea. I'm going to go from my front viewport. I'm going to extrude. We're going to do some fancy stuff with the arms eventually. I don't know what's going on. Oh, I didn't hit yes yet. There we go. So for now, I'm just going to do a basic arm kind of tube. We're going to get pretty fancy with them. Actually, let's just go up here first. Let's do that one. Extrude again. Let's bring it down to the elbow joint here. While I'm here, I might as well just give him his forearms. You can use the scale tool on a whole loop to scale it up a little bit. That way you'll scale it on all dimensions, which is nice. His arm's looking really thin this one way, so before I get too far, let me just kind of flesh that out a little bit too. It's supposed to be a big tough fella. I want to give him tiny little arms. Alright, there we go. Now, you might have noticed for my torso, and I'm going to do this for my forearms, I'm totally ignoring most of my clothes. I kind of kept the shorts kind of the same shape, but I'm ignoring the fact that he's got an asymmetrical armor piece, and I'm going to ignore these gauntlets a little bit too. We're going to address that in a little bit. Alright, so I've got a general size of his arms. Alright. Let's take a look at that. That looks alright. We'll definitely need some refinement to get some extra geometry in here. But for now, this is not too bad. So, with that, we have our general shape of our character. He is not overly complicated at this point, very simple. And so that's where I'm going to leave this tutorial off. Next time we're going to come back, we're going to flesh out the torso and the legs, and make sure all the polys flow nicely together. Then we're going to work on making some hands and feet, and then we're going to work on attaching him to the head, and then we're going to work on making some armor and additional pieces. So that's it for now. So just get your proportions right on your character. Don't worry about the flat butt. We'll get that definitely working. But that's it for now.